Hey there, viewers, and welcome back to Planet Cryos. This is part 2 of how to build a PC. If you have not checked out part 1, go ahead and do so. Otherwise, keep watching. So that is about it that we can do as far as the PC goes. I have gotten everything done except for just a little bit of cable management, which won't take me long at all with the amount of stuff that's on this. Very simple, straightforward, no front fans, just one rear fan and a CPU fan. And we're pretty much all done. So we just got to run memtest86 to test out that, memory that we installed that I am questioning, and if that passes, then we're good to go, and we'll install Windows 10. So stay with me for the first boot. We're just going to make sure this at least boots or does a post test. Alright guys, so here we go. I'm giving you kind of a my view shot here now, and you can see we're all pretty much all set. And what we're going to do is I got it plugged in. I got the HDMI port in the back hooked up to this monitor, and we're going to test on this monitor. So we're going to flip the power supply on, and we immediately get some LEDs. So that's good signs so far. And we're going to come right up here. Now we do not have on this drive down here, there is no bootable anything on there. So there should be nothing that pops up on the screen other than the post or the BIOS. And we're going to come up here. If we hooked it up right, we will see this power light up. Yep. It lit up, started spinning the fans, shut back down. Now it's powering up again. It's got to train the memory. And we are hoping to see something on this screen. There we go. There's our first boot. It worked correctly, and you can see it's a Z71 Pro Gaming. The BIOS is the latest BIOS. We have a 4.0 gigahertz processor. It is reading all the RAM currently at 2133. All right, so we're going to flip the power switch back off. We're going to kill it. And then I'm going to take my memtest86. We're going to plug it into any available USB drive. We're going to pop this switch back on here, turn the unit back on, and this should boot right into memtest86. Although I do need a keyboard here hooked up. All right guys, so it brought us back to this. It didn't actually launch it. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into the BIOS and just do the optimize defaults. So what we need to do is push F1 on the keyboard, get into the BIOS, and here we go. Now that we have a mouse, we can actually defaults, load optimize defaults. Yes, we're going to save and exit for this time, and then we will actually load that memtest86. All right, so it's not going into the memtest86 on its own, it appears. Maybe it will here. Okay, so that's what I needed to do. I needed to load the optimized defaults, and now it is going to be doing the memtest86. So the test is going to start automatically if you don't do anything. It's kind of hard to see because I got that light, but anyway. All right, so it's going to go through all these tests, and it's going to check everything. Any kind of errors are going to start showing up down here. So if we have any errors, we'll know about it. And this has got to run for as long as it's going to run. It could be a few hours. So I'm going to pause it here and get back to you as soon as this is done. Alright, as we can see, the test is complete and we have 0 errors. This is a good indication that the memory is okay, but it is not a definite. And yes, I do have a different attire on because I couldn't shoot this video all in one day. The MemTest 86 actually took 6 hours on by itself, so I had to just stop recording and continue on when time permitted. So with that said, you could see from that. I'll put up another screenshot right here that MemTest 86 did not have any errors. So that is a good thing. It is not a definite that the memory is okay, but is a better sign that it is, and because it does put it through quite a few tests, and I let it go through all 4 tests, and that it took like 6 hours and 22 minutes. So with that said, and that's okay now, we can proceed forward with our Windows installation. And if you don't know how to install Windows on a thumb drive to get the media installation on a thumb drive, I will put a link down below where you can find a video of me explaining exactly how to do that. The best idea is to also have a media creation tool that's fresh and new with the latest Windows with all the updates on it installed, so you don't have to go through and do a whole bunch of old updates to get to the new updates, because it kind of goes sequential. So if you have a Windows 10 installation that's a couple years old, it's going to go through all the old installations first. It doesn't just jump to the new one. But if you get the new one on a thumb drive, then it'll install the ones that are as current as on your thumb drive. So with that said, we're going to remove our USB for the MemTest 86. We no longer need that. And once you have your thumb drive for Windows 10, I suggest putting it on the fastest thumb drive you can afford. This one is a SanDisk Extreme Pro, and this is pretty quick. This is like over 300 megabytes a second just for this thumb drive alone. So it makes Windows installation pretty fast. But if you're just doing one PC, don't worry about the speed so much. But if you're like me or a tech or doing a lot of PCs for whatever reason, then you're going to want to get a fast one. So we're going to take this and put it into any open USB port, and we should not have to go into the BIOS or do a boot priority for this, because there is nothing on this hard drive, so it should see that. If not, we will do a boot priority, but it should be okay. Alright, we're going to turn our power switch on, and we are going to start this PC up. And we can see that's running, and we'll just pan over here to my screen. It should boot into it, but we'll see. There we go. Alright, so I do have another video or two showing how to go through this, but we'll kind of go through it step by step here just to show it during this build process, because it is part of the build. So when you get this and this window appears, you select the country and language that you want. Because we're in the United States, we are going to just click Next. And you have to click Install. Alright, so here what you want to do is, instead of entering the product ID right now, I would go ahead and just say I do not have a product ID. You can install the product ID at a later time on the PC, which is fine. And I'm also doing it this way because this motherboard has already been synchronized with a Windows key. So I do not need to install one anyway. It's going to recognize it as soon as I hook it up to the internet. So click I do not have a product ID. And what we're going to do is you can select either Windows Home or the Pro Edition. And I had Pro Edition on here previously, so we're going to select the Pro Edition again. And you have to accept the terms and conditions or the license agreement. And we're always going to do a custom install, especially if you don't know what kind of partitions are in there or anything like that. Always select custom. Now you can see this is the only hard drive in here that we can install Windows on. It's unallocated space, which means there's no partitions. After we get done with this, you will see, if you went ahead and did this again, you'll see there will be 3 or 4 partitions, depending on if you have it in like legacy mode or anything like that. That's a different topic. So we want to go ahead and select that. And click Next. Again, at this point, it's just loading the appropriate files and the partitions on the hard drive. And I will skip to the end of this, just wait for this all to complete, and we'll get to the next step here in just a second. Sorry for the blurriness there, but it is going through some reboots right now. And it's just getting Windows ready. That's all it's doing right here. So just be calm and patient and let it do its thing. All right, so it just went through a second reboot. And again, be patient, and this will eventually, there we go, it's starting this. And we're going to go through some options here in just a moment. All right, so once you get to this part, pick your country of origin. And we want United States. Keyboard layout, we want US. Second keyboard layout, we want to skip. At this point, I do not have the internet connected, and nor do I wish to connect it. If you do connect this, for Windows 10, it will require you to add a Microsoft account. So Windows 11 is actually what I've heard. I haven't installed Windows 11, but Windows 11 is actually requiring you, regardless, to add a Microsoft account. But for Windows 10, we still have that option as far as I'm concerned. So I do not have internet down here. This again is telling you, oh, you should connect it, and no, continue with limited setup. And right here you have the option to name your PC. We're just going to name it user. Here you have the option to create a password if you wish. Because this might and probably will require some updating and rebooting, there's no point in putting a password in at this time of the install until you, the actual owner or the user, gets it all set up the way they want it and done with the reboots. So just leave the password area blank and click the next button. All right, with this section, you can turn these on or off when you do get into Windows itself. So I like to turn all these off. I don't like all the advertisement stuff and all the extra experiences. So we got all those off. We click accept. And this is Cortana. This is kind of like Alexa or Siri, stuff like that. So I do not like it. So we're going to say not now. And now it's just going to greet you. This is just going to take another moment and we'll be into Windows before you know it. Now this part does say it takes several minutes, and it will if you have a slow hard drive, like a mechanical hard drive. But as long as you have an SSD, whether it be SATA based or NVMe, it should go pretty quick. And here's Windows. That didn't take very long at all. Maybe about 4 minutes, 5 minutes in total. I have two more big steps I want to show you when installing Windows like this. One of them is going to be checking the updates. Alright, so I went ahead and hooked it up to the internet. And what we're going to do now, it is still doing stuff in the background, but I want to show you what one of the first things you should do is you should come over here, and we're going to click right here. Then we're going to click on Settings, and we're going to scroll down till we see Update and Security. Click on that. This is going to be your Windows updates. And right now you can see that it's installing them and downloading them. And we're going to let this continue to do what it's going to do. And this is where you're going to be rebooting your PC a few times if you don't have some of the latest updates to your Windows. So we will not sit through all this, but what you want to do is just allow these to continue to download. It should say that it is available to restart. It'll have a restart button. You can go ahead and restart at that time if you wish. Sometimes these do stall and it seems like they're not moving at all. Give them a little bit of time. If they still are not moving, go ahead and restart your computer and try it again. And then go from there. And once all these are complete, you'll see a little button up here at the top. It will say, check for updates. So go ahead and click that again and check for updates. If this whole section is blank, there is no more updates. Usually you do not have to click this install now, but it looks like we may just go ahead and do that. Yep, we're going to go ahead and, I guess, do that now. Also, these optional quality updates available, those are a good thing to go ahead and download too. Just download and install. Or you can view them first and then install. So if you click on view, it'll bring you to a different page here. And you can look at like the Windows updates. Sometimes you have all these driver update things. So we want to go ahead and install those too. But first, we're going to wait for all these to install and there be no more up here. And then we can go to the optional one. All right, here I wanted to show you what it sometimes looks like. It's doing a few things still. What it sometimes looks like when it is pending. See, it says pending restart. And you get this restart button now. Before we did not. So this is just kind of what it looks like. So we can go ahead and restart this because we want to get these installed before we do any of the optional updates. Okay, so when you do get these major updates, it's going to look like this screen when you get done. This is kind of something new. They never really did this in the past, but they just want to ask you a few questions, that's all. You just hit continue. And we can do, it's the Microsoft account thing again. You can do skip for now. And this will bring you right into Windows here shortly. And we can do, this is the Microsoft account again. Just hit cancel. So just hit skip for now. And there you go. You are back into Windows. And what we're going to do is we're going to go right back to that spot where we're at again with the update and security. See, now it says we're all good, but let's go ahead and check for the updates again. That's the button I was referring to. And if this does not come up with anything, we will do the optional updates. Okay, so we don't have anything. We have the optional updates now. We can go in here. You can either, we'll do the Windows, and we're going to do all of the drivers. Download and install. Now you got to wait for all these to get done. So see, this does have the restart button, but see how some of them, until they all say pending, this one's got a download error. It's okay. It's not a big deal. But this one's still downloading. Wait till these finish before you hit the restart button. Alright, so once again, after this restart, we are back in the update section again, and we're going to check for updates, hopefully for the last time here. And then we're going to view optional updates, make sure there's nothing left. Oh, we do have that one thing in here. Let's go ahead and see if we can get that installed. And it looks like it did it on its own. Check one more time. And now we are clean. See, there's nothing below it. And one of the last things that I actually do for all of my PCs is I have this USB flash drive that I have a bunch of utilities on, like the Crystal Disk Info, Crystal Disk Mark, and HW hardware monitor, and all that kind of stuff. And one of them is the Windows 10 optimizer. And this is actually a Carey Holzman Windows 10 optimizer. You can get that from his channel if you want to go ahead and check out his channel. I will actually post a link to where you can get this and buy it. It is $10. You can do everything that this will do. You can do by hand. It just takes more time. So this just saves time. It's basically just a couple clicks of the mouse, and it does everything for you, like hard drive indexing. It turns off indexing for you. It changes... it puts on my PC on the actual desktop. So it does a lot of things, and there's a lot of things I just can't remember off the top of my head right this second. But we're just going to do a couple clicks of the button and then get this installed. So stay with me. And what we're going to do is we're going to look for this utilities. And you can see I have a bunch of stuff on here. And one of them is Uncle Carey's Windows 10 Optimizer. So we're going to put this on here. On the desktop. We're going to get rid of this. You can pull the thumb drive now if you wish. You don't have to. And we're going to open this folder. Open this folder. And, you know, you can read this if you want. But we're just going to double click this. Click yes. So these are all the things that it does. So we got disable the startup app delay. We got the add this PC icon to the desktop, which is one thing I said. Force icon view in control panel. Show file extensions. Show all icons in notification area. Remove people from taskbar. Disable ads and app suggestions. Reduce drag and drop sensitivity, and there's a few other things here that you can look at, and you can, you know, of course, uncheck any ones that you do or do not want. Now, the way he has it set up by default, I actually like the way it is. So the only thing that you have to do is click apply, and it will do a script, and it'll run through all of it on its own. When this is a brand new Windows install, it takes but seconds to really get this all complete, and depending on your hard drive speed, of course. So all the options are applied already. And do we want to restart now? Yes, we do. And that will then all the options will take effect and be part of the system now. So the only thing I have left to do is do a little bit of cable management. It shouldn't take me too long, maybe 10 to 20 minutes. And then I can put all the panels back on and give you an overview of the final product, and we are all set. As far as cable management goes, there's really not any one way to do it because it depends on how many cables you have, how big the case is, the length of the cables. And it's kind of all personal preference. You don't have to do good cable management to have the PC working well. That's kind of obvious. But I do like to have things looking nice. And so it shows a little bit of how you take care of your PC or your stuff. So I'm going to fast forward through this. You can kind of see what I'm doing. But I'm not going to talk through this portion. So go ahead and enjoy. All right, so it's all buttoned up and it is ready for the sale. Again, like I said, it does not come with a graphics card. Somebody's going to have to supply that themselves. But the 6700K will play anywhere from light to moderate games, even today, as far as 2022 goes. I actually just stopped editing, using this for an editing machine, or, you know, some of those parts out of the motherboard and the CPU specifically, only about a year and a quarter to a year and a half ago, and then I upgraded to what I currently have now. So, but this will play some moderate games. I know it will because I've used it for it. But with that said, that's all I have. That concludes actually part 2 of how to build a PC. And until next time, guys, take care.